guys, welcome back to the Lotus Pond. I have my co-host Rob here with me and some very special guests. Hi guys.
Hello.
Yeah, hi everybody. I know we had like our first episode 2 weeks ago, and then we took a break on the 13th because that was my man's birthday. Happy birthday, baby. And now we are back for our second episode, season 1, episode 2 of the Lotus Pond. How are you feeling tonight, Rob?
I'm feeling ecstatic. I've seen the list of questions, and you never cease to amaze me on giving me something to work with.
That's you being nice. We do try to kind of like pick up the topics that people put down or they don't want to talk about. All right, we have welcome back, Blue Bloods. This is not your first time at the rodeo. How are you feeling tonight?
I'm doing very well, thank God. How are you?
I don't know where that is coming from. Sorry, guys, we're having some technical glitches.
You hear me though?
Yeah, we can hear you now. You're doing very well.
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm doing good, thank God. I'm retired, so every day's good.
That part. I think it's coming from Redesign. Okay, I think he will figure that out. Redesign is having some technical difficulties, guys. He can't get his camera to work or his microphone. Hopefully we will figure it out. Redesign, hello. All right. I don't think we're going to be able to have Redesign for tonight. Redesign, I'm going to go ahead and remove you. And then if you want to come back, let us know if you can get your stuff to work. And finally, we have Fancy in the building. Hi, Fancy. Hey. This is your first time here.
Yes, it is. I'm a little nervous, but I'm ready to go to blows with you, Blue Bloods. I ain't scared of it. Matter of fact, this is funny. You're in New York and I'm from Boston, so
there we go.
What part of Boston? South Boston or North Boston? Which one?
Like it matters.
I'm closer to like South Boston, yeah.
Okay, thank you. You're good now.
Okay.
You guys kind of like sound alike, though. I'm just saying. You guys.
I don't have my accent anymore. I miss it so much.
Listen, when I go up to Boston, my real first name is Mark. They don't call me Mark. They call Mock. They call me Mock. I said, "What the hell is this here?" Oh, you know.
Oh wow, that's hilarious.
Well, yeah, they call me Mock. Oh.
As we get into this, I want to thank everybody for being here on the YouTube channel. Whoever's watching me live, please go ahead and hit a like. And for those of you that are my guests in the box, if you have a second device and you can just check out my YouTube channel and hit that like button, I appreciate it. Guys, those of you that are watching us live, we can see the comments. So drop a hi. And, sometimes we can show your comments on stage. So please feel free to join the chat. And welcome in to the Lotus Pond. From the mud comes the message. So I know we were a little bit late on coming on tonight because we were having some technical difficulties. I think Redesign is back. Let's see if we can get him with his microphone working. Hey, Redesign.
I just saw his picture, then he disappeared.
I know. All right. Are you there? Nope, I think we lost Redesign again. All right, well, I'm going to kick it over to Rob. Rob, let's go ahead and get into our first topic for tonight's discussion.
All right. I'm going to kick it off with a little light topic. So we're gonna go ahead and just dive right into it. Are people seeking partners more than they are seeking love? And what I mean by that, are people seeking companionship more than they are seeking love?
Oh, how do I exit out of this? I got like full screen. Okay. Are people seeking partnership more than they're seeking love? I have so much to say about this, but I'm gonna let somebody else.
Well, in my case, because I'm older than everybody in here, so at my age now, I'm just seeking companionship, but love will come, when they see how you do it. I'm old school, so if a lady sees that you're actually putting 100% into the relationship, or what you want to start a relationship, sees your character and so on, by all means. Some of the young people, they don't have it. They just want passionate love, and they ain't thinking about 2 weeks from 2 weeks later. That's what I'm feeling.
And that's, it's so funny because a lot of times people say in America, like love is an American thing. Do you guys think that like love is an American thing? That's the first thing I thought when Rob brought this question to me, because I was like, there's a lot of people that are just, especially from third world countries, right? Like I'm from a third world country. And there's a lot of people that are like, listen, he has all his teeth, right? He can work. And he has a 1984 car, but he has a car, and we will make it work. So do you guys feel like love is a luxury, or companionship is where the whole point of relationships?
I feel like it's a real good question. I feel like right now in the time we're in, people, if they're getting married for financial stability. Like the love is definitely lacking. It's more so like, okay, now if we're looking in today's society, everything is exponentially higher than what it was when our great grandparents or great grandparents were living. So I feel like now it's okay, we need 2 incomes, possibly 3 incomes, because both partners are like working multiple jobs or one. And I also see like this, like I know people that are doing this. It's, if I haven't found my person by the age of 30, then I have a backup person that I can talk to and be like, do you want to, we have like a little thing, like we can get married, we can have kids. Like I legit talked to, like I have a friend that actually did that. He's getting married this year. And it's just like, I feel like for some people it's like a little grain, the needle in the haystack. The needle is true love, and people are actually getting married for that. Right now it's just, I'm either keeping my home together because I have kids and we need to stay together as a family to put on that persona, or it's people who can't survive without another person financially.
That's correct.
All right, Redesign, what do you feel about this?
I don't think he's there.
Yeah, I don't think his thing is working. Well, we appreciate you, Redesign, for coming out and trying to make it work. But hopefully next time you can, you can make it work. Maybe in the comments you can join in. Rob, I know you asked this question, but what are your thoughts about love and companionship? Let me ask you a personal question. Do you believe in love? Do you believe that you could love and be in a relationship?
I will answer that question and combine it with my question. I think the word love is one of those words that are overused so much that it's lost its meaning. Like people's perception of the word love is different. If you ask 100 different people, you'll get 100 different answers. So I think you can love, and then you also got to keep in mind that there's variations of love. Like you have like your love for your family, your love for your friends, your love for your significant other. So I love fancy answer because I literally just had a conversation about this like the other day where I was telling somebody, I was like, it's amazing to me how many people just stop living after 30. Like if they haven't hit the marker on 30, they just stop living life afterwards.
And
Like they just
I'm
running through the
guilty.
motion.
I will say I'm guilty of that. I'm 33 and I look at all my classmates and I'm like, dang, y'all are married. Some of y'all got 5 kids already. I have 0. I got a fur baby. So I'm like, is something wrong with me? It kind of like makes you sad a little bit for like people in my situation. We're always like comparing ourselves to these like couples, but then you got to really look to put their relationship under a microscope, and it's like not all what it seems. It's, transactional relationships nowadays.
I also put it into perspective of like when we do comparisons, which is always detrimental in these scenarios, is because when you compare, you're comparing someone's personal journey. So for you to actually take that journey, you would have to live that life.
Meaningful and compaction. I feel like I agree with you guys. And I feel like something Blue Blood said earlier, he said, the older I get, the more I just want companionship. And even though I'm in a love relationship, I have a love partner, I really value our companionship. Do you think that's possible to have like love and companionship in a relationship and then just have a preference for the other?
Well, again, at my age, like I said, I'm older than all of y'all. So now, listen, my lady's 57. I'm 64. I don't look 64. I don't dress 64.
Right.
And I come across. And you paid me a compliment the other day. I told you I got to the 50-pound mark, for my surgery. That makes me even feel more younger, and it's ignited her in a certain way, because she said, "Babe, I want to see you to be around, for to 100 if we're together." That's the way it is, And she's always calling me or texting me. A text is very important. If you don't get a phone call, you may be at work, but you're communicating back and forth. You're showing each other's feelings, and so on like that. The other day, she left her wallet in the house with me, and I said, "What's the matter?" I said, and she always has a credit card and a little thing. I said, "I'll send you, $50 on your card. Go eat." And so on. That's what you're supposed to do. That's what a man does, and so on like that. But when I need her to pick me up at a PT, we go for a little late brunch or early dinner. That's what it is. But you can have companionship and love together. But you as you can see, they see certain aspects in a man like you would see certain aspects in a woman. If she brought me food the other day, she said, I cook for you. I said, that's fine. That's beautiful. I'll cook for you too. Whatever you want. You want Italian food? I'll cook it next week. No problem.
Okay, I'm letting my guests know in the comments. If anybody, I see Timbo is down there and he wants to join in. This is the link. If you guys would like to join us, you are very welcome to come join us. We are on our first question. Do you want to repeat it, Rob?
Yes. Are people seeking partners / companionship in place of love?
I think, what's funny? I think that the world was in a place of, I want a companion, but they were masquerading it as love. So check this out. This is what I feel. This is my opinion, guys. Don't hang me out to dry. But I feel like the pandemic really made people realize they were not as in love as they thought that they were, because we had the record number of divorces in that year. Divorce lawyers will tell you a lot of people got divorces because when we were forced to quarantine and stay home with our significant others, we realized we were not as in love with them as we thought we were. Many of us just were like, well, we've been together this long. We might as well put that ring on the finger. Well, we got a house together and kids. We might as well not break up. But then when you're actually forced to spend time with that person, you're just kind of like, yeah, this is not it. So as much as I also say companionship is important, it seems from the pandemic that love is important too, right? What do you guys feel about that?
Well, during that time, you're absolutely 100% right. There were a lot of divorces because people technically were together more, but they got to sometimes a man would get on a woman's nerves, a woman would get on a man's nerves. So you actually, you're locked in battle with each other now. In certain cases. That's why I do agree with you about the divorce rate at that time. But
yeah.
Well, I lucked out because I did my separation before the earth closed, so I was like, all right, cool. So I was living
Not before the
I was
earth
living
closed.
free.
I gotta give him a thumbs up on that one, brother. What the hell,
I was single during the pandemic, but I was trying to have a little boo thing to be like cuddled up in the house and do something, but like that barely made it like 2 months.
Y'all,
Listen,
that was when I knew. I know that was just when I knew. I was like, I had a boyfriend at the time, and he lived literally 20 minutes from me. And during that pandemic, I must have seen him like twice. And I'm like, in my head, right? I'm like Fancy said, we could have been booed up. We could have been here the whole time. We could have been playing house, and you came by to see me twice. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good on good.
I definitely was trying to play house. I was cooking. I was like, hey, I could come over.
Listen, I'm going to say it this way. I actually had females check it up on me. I know you retired. One of the girls that I used to work with was one of my young people I used to work with. He said, "Yo, Pops, you okay?" She said, "You want us to bring you food? You want us to?" Listen, they brought food, and I was good. I was good. I appreciate someone cares about me. Not if I'm not in a relationship with them, but showing that you're a human being and you treat each other alike. A lot of people in New York, they weren't very nice. During the pandemic, they weren't nice. They weren't naively. They weren't respectful of each other, and so on. They wasn't respectful of property. So but I understand I'm just putting out a little extra. But along those lines, it is important for you to have a good relationship. And if you have to do that's your companion for life. If you want it to be that way, that's the way I like. That's the way I think.
Beautiful. And anyone in the comments that's watching us, thank you guys so much for being here. Please hit that like button. We appreciate the support. And yeah, just drop your comments in the comment section, and we will be happy to post them. All right, let's move along to our second topic, which is my topic. This was actually a question asked to me by Boogie, who couldn't be here tonight. He had to handle some things, a family matter, but he put this question, and I said, "Ooh, this is such a good topic because this is what's going on right now." And it has to do with the military, and it has to do with trans. Thank you, Queen. So the question is, should trans people be allowed in the military? All silence.
All right. Well, I'll take the mantle. I'll take the mantle. And I was a part of a paramilitary organization, was the NYPD. Okay. I went up to personnel one day. I saw this young guy. He had a little ponytail, and I thought it was a female, not a guy. And lo and behold, about 2 to 3 years after, I went to a Hispanic event, with the Hispanic Society, and my friend Jennifer walked in and the girl's name is Jasmine. She's now a female, and she says, "You don't remember me?" And she showed me a picture. And listen, I don't care what a person is, what they have between their legs. I got to come out and say, excuse me, but I'm not going to describe it. If you could do your job, by all means, I don't have no problem with it. As long as you have my back, I have yours. That's the way I feel.
I love that. All right. Anyone else?
I will. Oh, you want to go ahead, Rob?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and ruffle some feathers. Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna ruffle them real good. So Blue Blood, he described his background. I also was military, United States Army. And when I was in the military back in 2011, we still had the don't ask, don't tell policy. So for those that don't know, you can't let it be known what your sexual preference is if you were a part of the LGBTQ community. So personally, when it comes to like transgendered and the military, I think they should be barred. And when I say I think they should be barred, I feel like unless they are fully transitioned, not, on hormones or top surgery. I mean, you got that actual sex change surgery. If you got that, then okay, by all means, because now I can really look at your, your identification and be like, okay, yes, you're male or female. But if you are still going through those things and if you decided in your mind that you want to be the opposite sex and you haven't taken that full transition, then it's like I've also looked up some information about how much money that actually costs the Department of Defense. It's from 2.4 million to 8.4 million on healthcare costs for people that are transgendered. And that money could be going towards veterans that don't even get dental benefits, like myself. It could be used somewhere where I feel like it really matters. Now, if you want to use your own money, your private insurance, by all means, go ahead. But like a lot of people I know join the military for monetary benefits. That depending where you are, there's nothing around, there's nothing offered. You join for a monetary benefits, and then also now with the transgender community and the what's being offered medically, that's another way out. So like, yeah, you're serving the country, you're doing this, that, and but the really thing you're trying to get out of it is like you're trying to complete your change, and that shouldn't be on our dime.
This is so unexpected because I was expecting to be 100% with Afro and be like, yeah, why not? Let trans people in the military. But now hearing Fancy's, rhetoric, how many of you knew that there was a cost to this?
I knew there was a cost because, like I said, she was in full military. I was in paramilitary, meaning NYPD. If you have a medical plan, like say Emblem Health, which is GHI in New York, and Anthem Health, which is a hospitalization, which is the Blue Cross Blue Shield, they have certain stipulations in the rules of engagement involving your insurance, where they will not cover certain things. And this is what's told: if you want to stay in the department, if you want to go from female to male or male to female, you have to use your own funds. The city is not gonna pay for it. And I got news for you: even if you're at the point where you're able to get Medicare and you're disabled, they will not pay for it on Medicare or if you reach a certain age on Medicaid as well. You have to do it on your own because certain rules of engagement, as far as the regulations, are not up to par, and they can't be brought up to par. That's the way they were told.
All right. And Afro said, I agree with Fancy views too, fully transition. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Like, this is why I love these conversations in the Lotus Pond, because we get to like look at real life things and then try to see it from both sides. Because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that would hear in the news, right? The government doesn't want trans people in the military. And, oh, that's crazy. That's terrible. But now we're discussing it. And it's like, wait a minute, like there might be some other things here at play. Yeah. So you got some marks for that one, Fancy. You got everybody agreeing with you. Great on that. Anything else you guys want to talk about with the trans in the only thing I could consider about is the actual like, what would you call it? The right in front of your face thing about men, women, women, men, like the confusion of that, So if you had somebody going in like a man who wanted to be a woman, but let's say they were fully transitioned as a female, I don't know. It's one of those things, what I think about, and maybe Blue Bloods, maybe Fancy, you guys have military background. You guys can explain this to me. But from what I'm thinking, I'm a non-military person, by the way, so I could be 100% wrong. But what I'm thinking is these are very close quarters, right? Like you guys got to sleep together. You got to shower together. You got to be out in the field together. You have to be around each other 24/7. And I think in a way that's a good thing, because you know what I think back to when we had racism in this country, right? But yet when we had Black people that went to the military, you heard a lot of people say, I don't care what color anybody's skin is. That's my brother on the field. That's my sister on the field, right? And I think that's so beautiful because it just reminds you that there's so much more to life than these labels that we have. So I'm thinking it's good to have trans people in the military just because the idea that we can get to see each other, you know, beyond our physical differences. And also too, I'm thinking to myself, and you guys please, you know, let me know what you think. I'm thinking to myself, if a trans person goes into the military, this is somebody who's well aware of what they're taking on. This is not some, I sit on the couch, a couch potato person. I don't work out. I don't have no sort of idea what I'm doing. I just decided one day I want to be in the military. I would like to think that the trans person entering the military has given it a lot of thought, and they're coming prepared and they know what's going to be held for them. Do you guys think that that would count for anything, or they still would have no idea?
Well, there is a husband and wife couple. The husband was a female at one time, became a full male, and then his wife was in the U.S. Navy. I think she was a chief petty officer, and now she's a full female. She's Hawaiian. But to tell you the truth, they've been married. What I think the last time I read about them, I think about 18 years. So the thing is that it is what it is. I mean, they took the course of life. God bless them, and everything. But getting back to my concern in my job was, if you're a female cop, would you want a female who still has a male part dressing in front of you in a women's locker room, and vice versa? I wouldn't feel comfortable with that at all. Okay, so what they did is, I was in a precinct, but I was working at the desk at the time because I was getting towards the end of my time on the job, and I had gotten hurt. And the boss wanted to, treat me correctly, like a true professional. They had to set up a certain area in one of the stock rooms, but they had a window in there, this way they could breathe or whatever, to set up where they could dress and go out to work, because the women didn't feel comfortable. And I'm going to say her dressing in the same locker room as actual biological females.
Okay.
And I feel like that extends even way past the military, because I've seen reports of a sorority house at a college where they have a transgendered female who the sorority sisters have gone to the school and administration to tell them that they have their new sorority sister that, ogles them while getting dressed. And this person is also not fully transitioned. And, other people on the outside, we will look at that as like, this is someone just playing around just to be able to, not always the case, but to get closer to women, to see them in, vulnerable states and whatnot. But when it comes to the military, I mean, I still stand on, like, I would prefer people transgendered to be fully transitioned, like fully. But
I have no qualms with that. I think that to me would be a standing rule with me. I'm old school,
and just past what I was saying about like the millions that are being spent just for like treatment and healthcare costs for that. Well, that's not also adding in people who are not fully transitioned. So men and women have certain criteria of like what they need to be working on. Like if you're a certain height, weight, and age, for whatever gender you are, there's stuff that the military looks at. So if you're like a short woman that's, kind of, maybe on the heavier side, if you're trying to join the military, they're going to tell you, oh, you may need to lose some weight before we can enlist you. But if you decide to transition to a man, they're going to be like, okay, he can have a little bit more weight on him. Okay. So that, stuff like that has to be rewritten in regards to that. And then that's time and money as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as clear cut as we thought it was, right? Just, it's people wanting to do this thing. At first it was like military was just men, right? Mm-hmm. And white men at that. And then we had the allowance, Black men were allowed. And then we had the allowance, women were allowed. And now it seems like we're having the allowance of trans, but it seems like they're taking away the trans. So my question is, when it came time to go from predominantly white males to now white males with other ethnicities, do you think there was a cost? And then when we had to bring in women, do you think there was a cost? And then how did we work through that to keep those different groups inside the military?
Well, I'm gonna say one thing. My cousin, the general in the Israeli military, is what people don't realize. In Israel, it is more friendly to the LGBTQ community than any country in that area. And the thing is that everybody that you got men, you got women, they got brigades, 2 or 3 women brigades. They're out there fighting in the field, side by side with the males. So I don't have any problem with that. But again, I agree with the young lady, her opinion earlier, saying that if you should be fully transitioned and so on like that. I have no problem working with a person that's fully transitioned. Someone who's not fully transitioned, I have some question marks about that.
All right, we have a couple of comments coming in. We had Queen, I pinned hers. My nephew and my niece are trans. I support everyone. My niece wants to go to the Air Force. And Roberta said, my nephew trained with the Royal Marines over here. It was tough training. Not all goes through to qualify the whole program at the end of practical tests. Yeah, and that's the other thing too is if a woman becomes a man, right? And so that's a trans man and they're in the military, they now have to go through the male exercises. Would they be able to stand up for that?
That, well, like I said, from my aspect in the academy, they did away with the overall wall that they had, a solid wall where you had to kind of push yourself up and get over the wall, and they do it like they did in the Marine Corps. The Marine Corps has that type of wall. Then they put a chain link fence. Now, man or woman, if you're on the heavy side, how the hell are you supposed to help your partner on the other side if you can't get over a chain link fence? It's a problem. And I was, when I was younger, I'm 64 now, going to 65 in a few months. But you know what? I said, whew, thank God I got through that bullshit, because you know why? But then they were bitching and complaining, oh, they got the wall, they got a chain link. Listen, what happens if you have a small brick, half a wall? You could get yourself off, but you're going to pull yourself over. But if you got a chain link fence that's maybe about 8 feet, and you can't get yourself over, your partner's dead, or seriously hurt. I don't understand, but like I said, there's rules of engagement in every aspect of even losing weight. I lost 50 pounds from my surgery. Doctor said you're gonna feel better with your heart, with your breathing, and it's gonna be better on your lower body. And I said, Doc, thank you for complimenting my achievement. But there was what they call a rule of engagement. I had to cut out certain things that I like, but it's going to benefit me health wise. So I'm using that as an example.
All right. Rob, do you have anything to contribute to this conversation before we move on to our next topic?
I want to touch on the question that you asked, which was or the statement that you made where they may have given a lot of thought to signing up for whatever military and whatnot. I don't think that's 100% true. People make decisions based on various things. They said they basically mentioned about utilizing the military funds to go ahead and do transitions. People are going there for school and travel so that they can have a full ride scholarship. So it may not even be in regards to just joining the military and being part of the service off the rip. You know what I'm saying? Once they get in, it may change, but when you're thinking about it before you sign up, they could be signing up for various different reasons.
That's a good point. Timothy says that if the male goes out, the female one, they will physically be stronger. It's like in the sports, it's not a fair competition.
That's what I was going to bring up.
Yeah.
because we still don't even have a lane or anything for like transgendered sports. You know, everyone's just competing with everyone, and it's really not fair, especially for the males that transition female and they still have that, you know, that muscle mass, that height. Most of them still have that weight of what they were as a man. So we know that typically men are supposed to be stronger than women.
Mhm.
So they're coming in dominating, you know, women's sports, and yeah, it's not fair. So that I was gonna bring that up, and I'm glad someone else brought it up before me. But like Rob said, like I said earlier, people joining the military now is like monetary value,
Right.
monetary benefits.
And I forgot to mention that, like when you said that, I forgot to chime in on that. I always say that. I said the people going into the military now, it's very hard for me to meet somebody who says, I'm going into the military because I want to defend my country. Literally 95% of the people I meet, oh, I'm going into the military. Oh, why? You know, I want to get a college degree. I want to get that like retirement. I want to be retired like in my 50s. I'm like, what? You know, it's a lot about, you're right, the financial compensation. So tragedy. All right. Thank you guys so much for being here. This is the Lotus Pond. This is our season 1, episode 2. And we are so blessed to have you guys here. Please hit that like button and feel free to share, you know, invite your friends. We are here every Monday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to give it over to Rob, who has our third question of the evening.
All right. Don't come after the messenger. This is just posed to me recently. I figured it'd be a good little topic to talk about. All right. Do you think it's more socially acceptable for Black women to date outside their race than Black men?
Oh my.
Don't shoot the messenger.
I feel like only Fancy can answer that. Like, can I answer that? Like, I don't even know. I'm not that good. Oh. Okay, go ahead. Repeat it again. I'll take a stab. Go ahead. Repeat it again. Poor Fancy is like.
Oh. All right. Do you think it's more socially acceptable for Black women to date outside their race than Black men?
Okay, I'm gonna just go. I'm gonna just. Y'all know how I get dragged. I get dragged for my opinions about everything. Hi, Rafa. Welcome in. It is The Lotus and the Light is my YouTube channel. The Lotus and the Light. You can come on through. We would be happy to have you. Is it more acceptable for Black women to date outside their race than Black men? I would only say yes because of my personal experience with it. And I say that very carefully because I do not speak for every person on this planet. I clearly do not speak for Black people. I am not Black, but you know, we're having a discussion and this is my opinion. And I hope somebody comes in, you know, be like, Uma, let me tell you what I got to tell you. So this is what I feel. I am a woman who has dated Black men in my lifetime. And every single Black man that I have dated, there has been some sort of controversy. Not from him, not from me, but usually, typically, oh Lord, help me right now. Usually, typically Black women. All right. I have had comments come my way to stay in my own lane. My boyfriends have been told, hi, Rafa. My boyfriends have been told, you know, you're a traitor for dating outside your race. You know, you want that Indian girl because of her hair and all this other stuff. And this is just my personal experience that it seems that if a Black woman dates outside of her race, she's seen as worldly. She's seen as explorative. She's seen as somebody with higher emotional intelligence. That's great. that you can just kind of like join into the world. But then when a man does it, you're a traitor. How dare you? You don't love Black women. But yet you don't hear people saying to Black women, well, you don't love Black men. It's a very strange concept. And I have said enough. I land my plane. I give it over to Fancy. Probably can talk more about this.
I'm coming. Okay, so I'm gonna disagree. As a Black woman, I feel like there's a lot of to unpack with this. There's levels.
Yes.
There's levels of acceptance. I think in general, it's gonna be no. It's not socially acceptable on whether it's a Black woman dating outside her race or a Black man dating outside of their race. If we're gonna be completely honest, even it's like this even with other races. Everyone wants you to stay within your race, but I think sometimes I feel like society, we really focus on whether it's a white person dating out of their race, like a Black person, and like a Black person dating a white person. I feel like for the Black community, that's the biggest thing, and I think that just leads back to the whole white people are oppressors for the Black people. So that's where like, well, you've learned all this stuff and you're gonna go on that side. Are you sure this person that is not, your race understands what you're going through right now? I've seen I follow a lot of interracial dating pages. Like I've seen stuff in the comments where Black women are attacked for dating a man that's not Black. We got the Dr. Umars who he don't play. Dr. Umar is like, you're not, no snow bunnies. No, I don't know what he calls the white man, but no white men either. Like, so
he calls me the curry bunny.
The curry bunny, no.
The curry bunny. Like, okay, the curry bunny. Okay.
He calls my people the curry bunnies.
I feel like when you look at it from the outside. Now, when you look at the inside from like Black relatives or Black friends, it's kind of levels. Now the Black woman, we're taught Black love, the Black man is our protector, and as time goes on, like we're not seeing a lot of like Black households with 2 Black parents, and we start seeing like now with social media, Black men just coming out the woodwork. No one even asked them nothing. They just coming out. White women are ghetto. They loud. They're angry. They're like, no one even asked you this. Like, where is this coming from? Like, oh, I like me a white woman because they're submissive. They're quiet. And it's like, that might be your type, but like not all white women are like that. I mean, so
not all Black women are like that either. They're not, all ghetto and all of that,
And I think with like Black women, we kind of just got fed up. Like, you're supposed to be protecting us, and you're just bad mouthing us. And then it's just like, okay, I'm gonna go. I've even thought about it. Like, I'm about to go where I'm being appreciated. And if that means it's another race, then it's another race.
That part. And I agree with you 1,000%. I think love is love, right? And if you work with somebody that you guys are doing the same work, you're being around each other day in, day out, and you start to have like that work husband, work wife kind of vibe, and then it just naturally transitions into romance, right? I mean, that's how a lot of people hook up with people outside of their culture, is that they're just around them a lot, or they're have a lot in common, and they're like, well, let's see what we got here. So it is a very packed topic, Rob.
We need like every race on here to get their viewpoint.
Mr. Rob is speechless at this time. Oh.
All right. Let me throw this out there for you.
All right. Throw it out there.
I agree with a lot of stuff that Fancy said. I think it's about a narrative for the most part. Largely just because you will see, like, I'll look at a lot of the stuff in my algorithm where there's a disdain for Black women that date outside the race or date white people.
I'll be right
white
back.
people, but there's even a more disdain for black men dating white women or outside their race. And I think it's pretty much equal. I just think it's more about how the narrative is presented out there. And the narrative today is more about the black man versus the black woman. Because like we said, not everybody's the same. Like not everybody's ghetto, not everybody's
Right.
world renowned. Like it's just a matter of where you meet said individuals, or even more so about the cultures that you're involved in. Like some people are more cultured because they traveled around the world more, or they embraced a lot more cultures than others. And then some people aren't because they don't get outside their neighborhood. They don't know what happens outside their neighborhood. So I think it's real more of a narrative thing as opposed to like an actuality where it's more black men over more black women that are dating outside their race. When in reality, it's really close to similar.
All right, I want to ask you, Rob, and you, Fancy, a question specifically to you guys because you're part of the Black community. But first, Rafa says, my viewpoint is that no one gets picked apart more than a black man other than a black woman. I was going to say the same thing. I feel that is so crazy that I was literally just going there. Okay, I'll get another question. I'll get another question. But to say to what Rafa said, I feel that black people got the worst end of the stick. And I say that as a brown woman. I say it as a brown woman because being in America, as long as I've been in America, I'm a citizen here. The way people treat black people is crazy to me. It's almost like they don't treat sometimes black people like they're human. And I've seen things. I can't unsee things. I've heard things. I've seen things with my own eyes and my own ears, and it's really depressing. So yeah, I just want to say that. Now, Fancy and Rob, I want to ask you guys specifically this question. Who do you feel, just your personal opinion, dates more out of their race? Black men or black women?
Black men.
I would probably go with black men.
Okay. And is there a reason you guys think, or you just curious that you just think why that is?
I think.
Well, let me ask you this. Is it more the foreign women or is it more the black women? Like,
oh, you mean like the passport bros?
well, is it, yeah, because you both said black men, right? You both said black men date outside their race more than black women. So my question is it that they're doing it because of what they're seeing outside of their race that they like? Is that what's driving them to do it? Or is it black women, what they're not getting or not having with black women that's driving them to do it?
I think it's just something they're just, it's their preference and their what they call, remember what they call white people interested in black people, jungle fever. I think it's a thing of jungle fever. Like, there's an attraction, of course, but it's like you never had that. So like let me try that. That's why I say that I feel like depending where you grew up, if you're in an area where it's like, okay, it's the population, like white to black, is like not even, then it's like, okay, let me try that. And then some people have their preference, like, oh, I love my Latinas, but I think it kind of boils down to like I was gonna say like with us dating outside of our race is it could, the conspiracy theories of it getting political, that this was the government's plan to break up black homes.
Oh, yes, I've heard about this. Yeah.
And now it's just stuck. It's something that it's like it's up it started as a way to break us up, and then to divide us, and then it just kind of stayed that way, and then people just started oh, you know what, let me go over here, let me try this, and and then and I think it's just stuck like that now.
Okay.
I'm gonna go a different way. So like I'm gonna go and say the reason for my answer is just because like I haven't seen or heard of a lot of instances with Black women outside their race as much as I've heard about or seen with Black men outside of their race. So that's why I would choose the Black men over the Black women. But I do agree with Fancy. It does, in certain cases, depend on like the neighborhood you're in. Like if you're predominantly in a white neighborhood, then that's the people that you generally hang around with. So it's more likely that you'll date outside your race as opposed to if everybody around you was Black. I don't know of anybody personally that I know that have dated outside their race that specifically went out of their way to date outside their race. It's just a matter of timing and location and circumstances. But I would generally pick the Black men in this case as opposed to the Black women just because I haven't seen or heard more about Black women dating outside their race as opposed to Black men.
I got one thing to add.
Yeah.
Just based off what you say, you don't know anyone personally. I know a couple of people personally that, mentioned they went out their way. I was in college and my classmate, a white female, she has a daughter, a white daughter. She got pregnant by a Black man. And she said to me, yay, I finally have a Black baby.
Oh. Oh my.
So it's like you're treating it like a little boo-boo or something, like a little, like a souvenir. And then so I've seen it where it's like purposely done on either side, not just like white people, but yes, the whole thing of like the hair, that's a big thing,
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Because like
you want a lighter skin baby. Yeah,
I've seen like videos where people will be like, "Oh, I'm gonna snag me a Black stallion tonight" or something like that. But so they out there. I just don't know anybody in my personal life that acts in that accordance.
Well, where I grew up in Brooklyn, we lived in the PJs. Okay, so back in the day when I was younger, white chicks dated white guys, black guys dated Black chicks. So one of the guys saw me later on. I was in my 20s. He said, "Did you ever date a Black girl?" I said, "Yeah, I dated more." They said, "Why'd you do that?" I said, "Because I don't live with my parents now. I pay the rent for my house, so that when my name is on the front door, I do as I want." But you had to be respectful at the times. That was the change of the times, and you had to be respectful of your parents. You just didn't do it. But now we had an old timers day and not too far from me in a park over here, a little barbecue and stuff. And 3 of the guys I grew up with were Black. They married to white women, but they also got Latina mixed in with them. So, I mean, technically they're still white, but, because of their appearance. But, I'm just saying in general. And listen, I got nice hugs, kisses from the ladies. How you doing? You're looking good, brother. How's everything? I didn't look past that. But today, when I was younger, we never heard the word nigger when I was growing up,
Wait, you can't say that word on here on YouTube.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. Okay, I should have said I should have said the N word. I'm sorry. We never heard that when I was growing. Let me correct myself. Okay, I was too direct. Rob is bullshit right about now. I don't know.
Please don't take away my show. I really like it here.
I apologize. I just apologize. Yo, take me off if I was wrong. I apologize. No, but I'm just saying we never heard of those words, even though there was like kind of divider at that time. Now you hear it more than ever. I'm a Jewish brother. And one of the guys said something out of line about me because he started my Star with David. I was playing a little basketball and I was refereeing. And I said, bro, we didn't put up with that crap years ago when we were in our teenage years. Why are you coming out with it now? Maybe because you know why? It's where he moved to. That's the mentality he has now, and so on. But me, I got news for you. When I was in a job, there's more Blacks and Hispanics that did more for me in a job, bosses than my own. I had nothing wrong with that. You know, what that if they saw what I had to brought forth to the table, you know, God be it. You know, that's the way I looked at it.
Got it. All right. Welcome in, everyone. Mike, we see you. Queen, thank you guys so much for being here. This is our second episode, so we are still working out the kinks, but you know, we're making it work. We're making it work. And I'm gonna bring us down because we did go over a little bit over time, so I don't want to keep my guests too long. I do appreciate them being here so much. We have one last question, and I purposely saved this for the last one because it's something that I've been thinking about, and I'm curious to see how you guys feel about it. So we recently had in the news, you know, we heard about Netanyahu, who is doing a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
He really is like a real life modern day villain, right? It's like in the cartoon movies, it's like a villain just doing all this villainy stuff. And then I had this thought, and I said, is there any ethical value in unaliving people like that are dangerous people, political influencers, people that are actually harming other people, killing like a lot of people or whatnot? Is there any ethical value in assassinations of dangerous political leaders or influencers? And I go back to with Luigi Mangione, right? When he in broad daylight shot and pew-pewed the president of United Healthcare Insurance in, you know, right in front of his office building. And he feels to himself, it's justified. He felt to himself, you know, this man was hurting many people and he was part of the problem. So we need to eliminate the problem. Now, I'm curious, how do you guys feel? We have somebody like Netanyahu out there or other political leaders. Let's forget about even Netanyahu. We have Hitler out there when he was there, right? Would that have been ethical to unalive Hitler?
Well,
so. I'm like a no on this.
Well, you mentioned something about Netanyahu. Now, Netanyahu, I met many years ago, and I got a chance to meet his brother who got killed in Entebbe in a raid in '76 when they went to Uganda to bring back the hostages. The thing with that is then he is a strong-willed person. He's not a bad person. Don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of unethical things that I don't agree with as a person who's a Jew like him. I don't agree with a lot of things, and that's a problem. Listen, there's many leaders who are in power, prime ministers or presidents of countries. They got a lot of skeletons in their closet. So, you know, but to take someone out because you don't agree with what they're saying or their ideology, to me, no, you don't do that. Murder is murder either way.
All right. That's Blue Blood's thoughts on it. I'm going to go to Rob and then Fancy. I was going to get you today. I was like,
listen, do me a favor, sir. Make me feel good. I'm a little pain right now. Make me feel good now. Let me hit her answer. Come on.
Every week you do this to me, Uma.
She put you on the spot this time. There you go.
Week. Every week.
All right. They're ethical. I look at it like this. Does that one person hold so much power and value that if you took them completely off the board, that it would change everything? Because I think like this, a lot of those people don't work alone. They're a group. So like to actually take out one person, I think you would really have to eliminate the entire group in a sense. Because there's always the saying, like, if you cut off the snake's head, right, 2 more pop up. Are they going to be worse or are they going to be lighter than the person that you took out? You always got to think about what the repercussions are after the action. It could be better, it could be worse. We just don't know.
Okay, fancy.
I'm gonna say, just based on like the keywords in your question, is the ethical value in assassinations of dangerous political leaders. I'm gonna go just based off of that and say yes. Now, influencers, I'm gonna say that's a little tricky. I mean, if the influencer has that much power to where they can, get people to do like get together and do crazy things type stuff, then it's like, okay, we got to do something. Putting them down, okay, that might be a little extreme, but dangerous political leaders, yes. Hitler should have been off. Kim Jong-un should have been off. And then I'm gonna say all this just based on a novel, Shooting to Kill: The Ethics of Police and Military Use of Lethal Force by Seamus Miller. Section 8.1, justifiable and humanitarian armed intervention. They talk about some humanitarian armed interventions are morally justified, which I do agree about. It says, consider the case of Rwanda. According to Fergal Keane, in Rwanda, after the deaths in the plane crash of the Rwandan and Burundian presidents on April 6, 1994, an orchestrated program of genocide took place. It says, quote, in the ensuing 100 days, up to 1 million people were hacked, strangled, clubbed, and burned to death. The genocide in Rwanda, in like cases, constitutes a decisive objection to the claim that humanitarian armed intervention is never morally justified. But somebody should have did something then. We got people just, if it needs to be like a purge for dangerous people, then yes.
Okay.
Killing everybody? No.
We do have our guest. Our special guest is in the building. Hi, Boogie. I just asked the last question of the night, and I'm happy to have you weigh in on it. I don't know if you heard it. Did you hear it?
I see his name, but I don't think he came into the picture yet.
He's right there. Oh, he's muted. Hold on.
He's
there you
muted.
go. Hi. Were you able to hear the
what was the last question?
Is there such a thing as ethical assassinations of people in power that are like influencers, political dictators that are causing harm, that are hurting people, that are unaliving people? Is that an ethical thing of an assassination of these kinds of people?
That part, Mike. I just seen Mike's comment.
Look, at the end of the day, again, hear me with the end of the day part, but
Prime Minister. Good evening, Prime Minister. We're waiting for you, sir.
Right.
Look,
that's the Prime Minister of Australia, right there.
There's no.
I can't hear you.
Taking someone's life is not ethical.
He's moving his life, so we can't hear him.
I can hear him. You can't hear him?
Yes, so taking someone's life isn't ethical. No matter what they believe or say. I mean, if it comes down to making a decision if they could be terminated or not, that's in a court of law. Now if their actions cause the death of a lot of people and a lot of uprising, then let the courts decide and the people decide on that ground. But taking it upon yourself to go and do something like that, then you have to deal with the consequences. So there's no ethical value in someone doing it. And I can understand the urge to want to go silence somebody. I really can. But is it really worth the suffering at the end of the day? Is it worth the repercussions? So no, I don't think it's ethical, but I believe we need to hold these people accountable through a tribunal or something, and get them to try and justify their views against a panel of judges. And if they can, then we silence them legally, with a justifiable cause, saying, well, this is what you're saying, this is the repercussions from your words. you're using these stats are not validated, or it's nitty-picked over the majority. And these are the things we need to really stop generalizing and go at them on a case-by-case scenario and hold them accountable for their words and let them feel the repercussions of that from their words. Because if we hold Trump accountable for all the things he's saying, I mean, imagine if Obama said what half the Trump has said or done.
Right.
And
that's the way I think about it. Like, yes, I understand if somebody is unaliving, let's say 1 million people, then like an assassination of that person would in the long term seem like a good idea because it's saving people. But then here's where it becomes gray, right? Because how do you decide who is a bad person, who's a good person? Now, clearly, if somebody unalives, like 1 million people, that's a bad person. That's a terrible person. But there's a lot of people that do things that look at the current administration right now. There's so many people that are divided on the current administration. Some people see the good in it and some people see the bad in it, right? So if we were in a country to make like these assassinations legal or whatnot, they would have to have a lot of paperwork to say what can and cannot be done. You know what
But
I'm
the thing
saying?
is, look at the poll results that came out across many, many networks where Trump, at this point in time, compared to every other president in American history, is at 41%, which is the lowest approval rating of any leader in the American history at this point in time of his administration. So the American people are not even happy with him and the way he's doing things. He may say something they may like, but his actions are completely different. And releasing military force on American soil, on Americans, no.
Yeah.
Well,
Was that Blue
no,
Bloods?
I'm gonna. When you mentioned Netanyahu before, some people felt in the world that Netanyahu and the Israeli military supposedly went too far. But when they invited people to that kibbutz where people were burned, they found dead bodies with no heads, no arms, people handcuffed or wired hands. Okay, that didn't happen. Also, they're saying that there's no food going into the where the West Bank is. Okay, there's plenty of food. The United Nations is the one who's also at a major fault because they have tons of food that's being sent there with U.S. markings on it and what's it called, Blackwater, which is a security agency, has been going in with the food there. Okay, but then it sits. Then when he finally gets in there, the Hamas is there, and now they're seeing actually that the Israelis are not killing Palestinians or people with the green bands, which is Hamas. It's Hamas killing their own people, and I don't know if these people are going to be able to. There's different clans, they say now, that are fighting against Hamas, but you should be fighting against each other. You should be united as one, but it's not going to work out the way. And I feel that the United States did a job. I'm not going to say they didn't do it, but now you have to sit down with the president of Egypt. You have to sit down with the president and the other collective leaders of those other countries. If you want to go in there militarily, you got to do it together as a unified unit. If you don't, then it's a problem.
See, I agree and disagree with some parts because there are recordings of certain members of the Netanyahu government, and there was a deep dive done in on them by an independent group where comments were made that certain members of Netanyahu's government believe that Palestine as a whole belongs to Israel and that they can justify ethnic cleansing. And that was recorded in a Senate hearing, in an actual hearing of them saying, this is our country, we'll take it by blood if we have to, and a lot of other things. So there's good and bad on both sides, and Blackwater is not a company I would use
Oh no, I'm not.
as a prime example.
I use it as.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. but I use it.
Yeah.
I use it. I don't know the actual security agency they're using now, but I use that as a metaphor
No, pure. A
of an
lot of these
example.
paramilitary companies are owned by billionaires
Mm-hmm.
who have been proven to be been like an extended arm of the U.S. government to commit the atrocities. Therefore, you can
No,
claim plausible deniability.
right.
Yeah,
I'm not disagreeing with you,
yeah,
but in
yeah. And
19,
I've seen that
yeah.
firsthand. And this is why I'm very against a lot of these. Like, I love the idea of being a mercenary, but there's some mercenary companies that I can't ever have respect for.
No,
Or yeah,
I don't disagree with you. I agree
yeah.
with you 100%.
Because Trump pardoned about 5 Blackwater operatives that was responsible for the murder of 17 children and parents at a checkpoint. And that was cold-blooded murder. Even the army was like, what the hell? You know? And this guy walked up to a 14-year-old kid and pulled the trigger. And he got pardoned by Trump. I think not George DeSantis, what's that guy that did the financial fraud and all of that, that his whole life was a lie?
Oh, are you talking about the former congressman in New York just now?
Yeah. He just got
Well,
pardoned today.
he got 2 days ago. He got pardoned. He got pardoned because
Yeah.
my aunt lives in Long Island, and they had it in the Long Island paper, and she sent
Yeah.
me the article that I could read on my phone.
Yeah. So
I have
that
to
kind of
say-
stuff is not leadership to me when you're pardoning criminals
I
left,
have
right,
to
and
say, for
center.
everything being said, allegedly.
Well, no, no. To get to something that Boogie just said. I was listening to a video that my nephew sent me, who's a general in Israel in the military, and he said, "Do you remember Mama?" And I said, "You mean Golda Meir, who was the only female prime minister in the state of Israel?" He said, "In 1922, when she went to settle there, from 1921 or 22 to 1948." She held a Palestinian passport, but there were Jews in Palestine at the time. And then during World War II, we had the 6 million Jews who were killed. Okay, the Grand Mufti, who was the head of the Muslim religion there, he had a lot of the after the British pulled out. They had no other choice to defend themselves, and they had other countries, sending in weapons. Weapons were coming. And I tell people, if you want to know about what the Palestinians and the Jews, watch a movie called Cast the Giant's Shadow, okay, which is about the Israeli conflict from 1948 when they first became. Because the gentleman who became the first Aluf, or the first Israeli general, was a guy named Mickey Marcus, who was a commissioner of corrections in New York. He lived in in Brooklyn, and I'm just saying in general that I'm not agreeing with every person in the cabinet. There are rebel rousers in the cabinet that he has that are too what they call headstrong, and they got to step back and they got to stop the bullshit. And it's not a good thing. It's a bad thing.
And that's the thing, though, that there's freedom of speech, and then there's just hate. And there are people on both sides that are guilty. But when I did my paper on the Arab-Israeli conflict, at the end of the day, the blame solely still falls, and I still stand by it, and people will be upset on England. And England should be the one trying to broker a proper peace, because England created this mess. And I'm not denying the Israelis their land, but they could have done it in so much of a better way. But when they realized the problem they created after breaking our promise, they ran away and left Israel to handle it on their own. And then, and then the labeling start and all of that. But I can't justify the killing on either side. I do not support Hamas, but I do believe that the Israelis and the Arabs can live side by side, and I know for a fact they can, because for generations they lived next to each other peacefully without any animosity. They may have had little groups here and there that hated one another, but they lived together. And my dad's family in Syria lived side by side with Jews for generations. And then when all the BS started, even Arabs got persecuted for helping Jews escape. So not all Arabs hate Jews, and not all Jews hate Arabs. But the way the media plays it is one against the other. and the weaponization of words and then the
100%,
misinformation.
100% agree.
Mhm.
You know,
100%
even you
agree.
go to Mecca, I've seen Arabs and Jews praying together at Mecca. No incident, nothing.
No. Didn't I
That's
tell you?
that's the kind of world I want to live on.
Well, didn't I say something the other day? When we were talking about a subject, and they said, "Oh, somebody said, have you been to a ceremony? And you know my department, you know what it's all about. You know me better than most people in here. And I don't talk with forked tongue. And I talk
Mm.
you complimented me for talking very intelligently and thinking before I talk. Okay, which you should do. But sometimes you have to think. Don't think with your heart. You got to think with your up
Mhm.
here before you talk. And a lot of people, as you can see, have taught me that, including my dad, started with me. And then when I got into the job, the jargon and the verbiage. But the thing is that listen, I'm proud to be a Jew. Okay, I'm proud when I get to different events. But you know what? Our organization, when we have the Guardian Society, okay, in the police department, we all go together. When we have the Dominican Society, we even have the highest ranking female in the department in uniform was a deputy chief. She's from Uma's country. I think she was born here, but her mom and her dad came from Guyana. And
Guyana.
listen, and I got news for you. She's fantastic. I get along very well with her. But the thing is, everybody has to work together in a cohesive unit. Like I said,
Mhm.
if Hamas doesn't stop their bullshit, all of those people that were sitting behind President Trump, Americans, Qatari, Egyptian, Jordanians, whatever was there, their special forces got to go together and say, listen, you cut the shit or cut the garbage, or we're going to take you out. You
Mm.
can't kill your own people. It's not. It shouldn't happen.
Look, I think at the end of the day, and this is something I know groups like Vice and them, they're looking into it, of the personal gains of certain politicians due to this conflict. Because what people don't realize, a lot of conflicts that happen around the world, there's someone profiting from it, always. And the fact is, Trump has, and there's proven evidence thus far, and I'm not going to say allegedly, and it's damn right true, profited from many conflicts from around the world. He's made deals. He's had his son Eric making deals with Dubai. He's got his Jared Kushner making deals with the Arab Emirates, you know, and he's profiting from it. And he's like, oh, I'm not part of this, my kids are. He is part of the business. Otherwise, why are you hawking off watches? Why are you hawking off sneakers? Why are you hawking off credit cards? Why are you hawking off buying citizenship or residency? To him, he thinks he's a really good businessman, but this guy's had more bankruptcies than some of the best. Like, not even Richard Branson had bankruptcies compared to Trump, and he's a businessman.
Oh, absolutely.
You don't see Richard Branson hawking off watches and
Yeah.
shoes and all of that like a street hustler.
That would be
Well, like,
so funny if he did that. I want to say real quick, I feel like concerning this current administration, we could have like a whole show of topics on them. But I think, I don't want to step over the line because I know like I'm looking at Fancy and Fancy's looking tired. I'm looking at Rob and they're looking tired. So I think this will be a good place to end. And of course we can carry on the after hours conversation where we do. But I want to thank all of you so much because every time I come
Sorry,
here
I'm
on Monday
late.
nights, no, you're good. Every time I come here on Monday nights, I love these conversations. I love these topics. And now I'm beginning to wonder, for those of you that are watching live, I know like a couple of people left because we were beginning to wrap up. But how would you like it if everybody brought a topic instead of just me and Rob bringing a topic? How would you guys feel like if we each brought one topic?
I have one in mind for our next session. I have one in mind.
I love it. I
I
love
know
it so
I know
much.
Boogie got at least 5 on that.
Well, no, I have one. I have one important one, but then I have several
We're already
underneath it. But
brainstorming it with Uma and her stream. I'm just like, how about this? How about that?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you guys. Queen, thank you so much. I want to thank you guys so much for coming and for being here. I really appreciate all of you. If you guys, I know you can see the comments. If you guys want to drop, if you want to, you don't have to, but if my speakers on my panel want to drop their information, whether it's your IG, your TikTok, your YouTube, whatever you want to drop in the comments, so that way people who are watching live can follow you, or people who are watching and listening to recording. By the way, thank you to everybody who listens to my Lotus Lounge podcast on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, because these I've been watching the views go up on these. And Rob, surprisingly, Rob, your Wellness Wednesday is trending really well. It's getting some views out there. So congratulations to Rob on that. You know, I appreciate you guys. So that's it for tonight, guys. Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate y'all being here. We are here every Monday night, the Lotus Pond, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube. I'm going to ask my guests to just hang out backstage for a second until I'm done wrapping up the show. All right. Thank you guys so much. And I will see you next week, Monday, for the Lotus Lounge. The Lotus Pond. I can't even like right now. I'm trying to like think of too many things. The Lotus Pond. Thanks, guys.